Hey, everybody, welcome to Behind Closed Doors. I'm Tony, and obviously, this is Nicole, and we're super excited to bring a great guest today here from Colorado. I have known this particular person for almost 20 years. Um,
21.
she, 21, thank you. So, if I had to sum her up in one word, I would say service. She's an incredible realtor. She has been the past president of the board of realtors. She has served as a CAR director for the Colorado Association of Realtors. She has served for NAR, the National Association of Realtors. She is just finishing incredible 1 year at the Builder Realty Council as the president. She has been part of the Agent Leadership Council and a leader, a mentor, and an advisor in the office that she serves. So it's really an honor and a privilege to introduce Lynn Goetz from Keller Williams DTC.
Gee,
So Lynn,
have that person sell my listing. She sounds fabulous. Thank you, Tony.
you are welcome. So Lynn, I just kind of want to walk through just a couple of things. What got you into real estate and what got you interested in it in the first place?
Well, that's an easy question. I grew up in a real estate family. My dad was a very successful realtor. He had his private practice, private brokerage in Richmond, Virginia, and then the middle of my junior year in Florida, we moved. Junior year in high school, we moved to Florida because he had a company actually, he got the listing to do all the marketing and sales for a big golf resort called Innisbrook. And it was the first time
Wow.
that a resort sold them off as condominiums and then marketed as a resort. That was the first time. So then he put together a company called Real Estate Concepts, and developers would hire him to do all the marketing and sales. And he did Greenleaf in Central Florida. He did the Sundial Beach and Tennis Resort on Sanibel Island. He did condos here in Colorado in Breckenridge in the late 60s. Anyway, so I grew up in real estate. My sister is a realtor. My sister-in-law is a realtor. My brother sold new construction, and the year before I decided to get into real estate, my sister and her husband sold $65 million worth of real estate, and they made a
Wow.
lot of money. And I thought, she's not smarter than I am. Now you have to understand, I'm the eldest of five kids. And if you met any of us, you would think we're all only children because we're all bossy and we're all assertive. And anyway, so I was in a career where I was felt like I was herding cats in leadership for 25 years. So
Yeah.
I decided to, I said to my husband, I'm going to get my real estate license, my broker's license. And he said, well, it's about time. My father was ecstatic. And he said, oh, honey, I think you'll be so good at that. And I thought, why did you ever not tell me you thought I'd be good in real estate? Anyway,
Right.
21 years later, and it really was a fourth career. Here I am.
Yeah. And you know, we kind of grew up together in the business, right? So I've known you for 21 years. I've been in the business for 24. We both were in the same office for, you're still there. I'm not too far off, but I mean that's a long time, and watched kind of each other grow and that trajectory and all of that kind of stuff. So, a couple of questions that I have for you. Um, in all the things that you've done, right? From being president of the South Metro Denver Board of Realtors and all the work that you've done at CAR and NAR, um, how how did you get to the Builder Realty Council to be the president? What prompted you to do that?
Well, I've been a member of the Builder Realty since 2008, and I constantly participated. And then I was on their board of directors for years and years, and they kept asking me, would I run for president? Would I run for president? And then last year, the year before last year, they said, I had I kind of I felt like a gap, and I had the time, and I said yes. They needed me to step up. It's like I'm on my HOA board. Why did I join the HOA board? They needed somebody, and I felt I could contribute, and so here I am.
Awesome. So let me ask you, I mean, that's a step kind of out of your comfort zone. What did you experience and what did you learn, and like what is going on in the builder's mindset, and what did you kind of see behind the scenes that, whether, and by the way, this podcast is, it's for everybody, right? It's for the consumer, it's for the realtor, it's for the lender, it's for the title company, it's for everybody. So what what did you learn, or where do you think the mindset is today, with the builders, and what are some of the challenges that they're facing?
Well, I think we had an event last night, and I would invite both of you guys to come sit in on a general meeting, come to a special event. I would so welcome you with open arms. It's a great group. Builders are the market that we're in today as
Mm,
realtors in Colorado reflects, you can see it happening to the builders as well. They might be a little behind the times. And we had one, two, three, four, five, six builders last night's late yesterday afternoon speak at our function, and they all emphasized how much business they do with realtors and how realtors were their friends. Now, the thing that I have gleaned all these years is that there are some builders, when times are good, they're not so friendly to you. And by friendly, I mean,
right.
we don't work for free. But some of them think that we should, and they're not willing to compensate. There are some, and then right now, there's one in particular we had trouble with last year who's offering a very generous co op compensation. There are some that realize the value all along, they even in bad times, and they're the ones, I'll tell you quite frankly, it's like doing business with your favorite lender, Nicole, and your favorite realtor, me and Tony, that, or your favorite coach, that you're going to remember and you're going to go back. It's a relationship business with builders, just like it's a relationship business with a lender, with a title, with a coach, with a
Right.
realtor. And they need us right now. They really need us right now. And I think the ones that have treated the entire community, I'm not just saying realtors, I'm talking about the entire community well, are the ones that are going to thrive even in a bad market, because there's two different types of customers, and I know you both know this. Some people absolutely love new construction. There's people that love the fact that there's no toenails in the carpet, or as they used this term yesterday, there's been no butt on the toilet seat, right?
Hey,
And
I guess I fall into that category because I've only bought new builds. All the
you
homes
like
that
new.
I've
I have
ever bought
bought new.
have been new.
I've bought new construction, and I know the value of disinfectant and carpet cleaner, but there's a certain type of person that likes that. I personally, I like mature trees. I like to walk in and have window treatments. I like
Yeah.
that stuff done, or you can change it. But there's definitely a market. It's funny. My sister, who sold the $65 million, she's only sold new construction. She's
Wow.
only sat on site. Now, she has one time in her career done a little bit of general real estate, but when she's got a problem and it's a general resale, because people will ask her from time to time, she's now the general sales manager of a large luxury resort on the West Coast in Florida. She'll call me up. What do you do about that? Because there's a little bit different. I would say the thing that I would like to emphasize for all the realtors out there is that you need to have new construction in your inventory, and it gives you power and knowledge to know what's available. A membership to the BRC is only $55 a year. You get access to all the builders who are members, to super education systems, but those should be part of your repertoire, part of your inventory. I always tell when I go on a listing consultation, because my background was selling to retailers, I'm Neiman Marcus. And whether you're a $100,000
Mhm.
condo on my shelf or a $2 million house on my shelf, you need to be merchandised and you need to stand well. And then when you're taking buyers around, you need to know what's available, because there are those people like you, Tony, that love new construction. And and the other thing, when you get in on the ground floor of a new builder's development and you're there right at the beginning, and you can watch those.
Yeah.
As you know, real estate doesn't go down in the long term. It does not go down. It's a good investment. And it's fun. I mean, it's fun. Who doesn't love to go look at new construction, new house models, and tour through and see all the latest and greatest? And it's fresh, it's new, and the builder reps really do the job for you. You're there is to they take care of the transaction while you take care of the client.
Yeah.
It's a win-win.
Well,
Lynn,
go ahead.
I guess I have you had mentioned that they're kind of behind the times, and I'm curious if they mentioned anything at your event last night because recently there's been a lot of media coverage in Dallas because there was a whole new build community. A storm came through, not anything, not a tornado, not anything crazy, but it literally leveled all of these new build houses that were in the process of being built. So I'm curious when you say that they're
Wow.
kind of behind the times, are you referring to the way that they're building things now, or did they mention anything about kind of what that looks like these days? And are they, because you hear now that post COVID, that they are just thrown up real fast and they're not the up to the standard that they used to. What do you think about that?
Nothing was that was mentioned. Don't do you? And I know you've been through new construction, Tony, and you know a lot of the builders in our market. You can almost walk into certain builders and tell whether they're well built or not. And there are some that build better than other, and I'm not going to name names here. But no, none of that was mentioned. I want to say behind the times, I think they lag a little bit, but they do experience what we're experiencing in our market. Because I always ask them. I mean, I ask everybody I see, lenders, how's your business? Moving companies, how's your business? Builders, I said, I ran into some
Right.
people that I've known. Tell me how your business. Last night, the ones that I asked, we had lots. We had besides the one speaking, we had lots of different representation, and they're feeling the same thing, But they're starting to see it pick up. We're feeling more hopeful. I love it when they're feeling more hopeful because that means the whole market is going to feel more
Yeah.
hopeful.
Well, I think the challenge that the builders have, there's a couple things in play here, right? So if you want to go back and look historically, I'm going to put my professor hat on for a second. You go back and you look at what happened in 2008, 9, and 10. Um, Historically, we have to build about 1.2 million homes a year to keep up with demand. Well, in 2009, we only built 400,000. That's a $600,000 deficit. Every year for like the next 4 or 5 years, it crept up a little bit, but we just hit the million mark about 2021, 2022. So if you think about that deficit for all that time, right? We're behind, and we wonder sometimes why there's a pinch on inventory on the resale market. It's because the new build market wasn't there to stand in the gap, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other challenge that the builders have is listen, you buy property and you get that slated for new construction, and you are now tied
Mm-hmm.
to that community, to that county, to that tax base, to all of that. So just because you bought land, if things aren't going well, you don't get to put your hands up and say, hey, we don't want to do this anymore, right? So they're committed. Prices for product have gone up significantly. Um, the buyer pool, I think, has stayed fairly steady. Um, but the question is, can they keep up with demand to be able to give them what they're hungry for, right? And there have been times where they can't build fast enough.
Right now, and I just say this from the emails that I get because I'm on all the mailing list, as I'm sure you two are as well. It seems to me, they're really reaching out. Most of the builders have bought cheap money, so they're able to offer deals. So the one I just got under contract in Looking Glass was built in 2023. They've decided they want to move back east and they couldn't do it fast enough. and we're competing. It came down to they could buy a new home, a Lennar home. However, I can't, I couldn't say to the realtor, yeah, but this is a Taylor Morrison. And my clients, they expressed they expressed their opinion about Lennar, but they had cheap money.
Yep.
Um, and so that's what you're competing against. And
Mm.
we ended up, the couple that we're under contract with, and we just went under contract. It's funny because my sellers are moving back to Virginia Beach. This couple is military. They're moving here from Hampton, Virginia. The
Wow.
the agent that's repping them is from the Springs, so they're military, so they're probably going to be commuting to the Springs, and we're South Parker, so it works. But it was very interesting, and my sellers they've decided they want to go, and there's a house they want to buy, so they were willing to negotiate the price. I mean, they're getting a steal because my sellers did landscaping. They put in a fence. They put in a pergola. They finished the basement. They have window treatments. They put in a water filtration system. They bought a refrigerator. They bought washer and dryer. They bought all the appliances. This couple is getting a deal.
Yeah, all
Right.
the things that they wouldn't be getting if they
They
bought a
wouldn't if
new
they
build.
bought the Lennar home for whatever reason at a much
Yeah.
cheaper price with no finished
Right.
basement and not as many bedrooms, etc., etc., etc. Oh, and this
Yeah.
house backs to open space and has beautiful views of the mountains and Pikes Peak.
Sounds like a good
So
place to live to me.
let's talk about cheap money for a second, Nicole, because you're competing with that every day,
Every day, all day, every day.
right? And I think what the consumer doesn't understand, it's part of the challenge right now for lenders
Mhm.
is how do you compete, right?
It's sometimes you can't.
Right.
Builders right now are offering $20,000, $30,000 towards closing costs, right? And a 4% interest rate. And without seeing anything on paper, that sounds like a smoking deal. You're basically not coming to the table with any money. You're getting an incredible rate. Your mortgage payment is really low.
Right.
That sounds great, right? However, the way that they're using the money that they're giving you and getting the rate are two very different things, right? The money that they're giving you towards closing costs is actually buying down your interest rate. That's what's getting you to where you can be in a 4% interest rate. So you're not getting as much money towards closing costs. That's getting eaten up real quick. And then you start looking at the numbers and you go, wait a minute, we had $30,000 that was supposed to come off the bottom, but we're still coming to the table with a ton of money. And so I see it a lot, and this is why I offer second looks to explain those things, because sometimes it's not well known that that's how that is being used. But yeah, I mean, unless we can somehow finagle and get super creative and pull some things in from different places, it's very hard to beat new builds.
Yeah.
You know,
And I think that's part of the attraction right now to new builds is the interest rate. I believe firmly. Listen, here's the deal. Where rates are at right now is still really good money.
Hmm.
I think the challenge that we have, and we've talked about this on other podcasts before, is that we're coming out of an environment that probably shouldn't have happened and should not have lasted as long as it did. You know, 3%, 3.5%, 2.9%, 4% is not healthy. And so now we've got this new generation, for lack of a better word, of buyers that are stepping into the market, and all of a sudden they're looking at 6.5, 7%, and they're freaking out, right? So that is attractive to get them into a new build, and the new builds are sexy and they're new and they're shiny and they're pretty. I want to tell a quick story that I brought up in a forum on Tuesday to you guys that shocked me, and I don't know if this is going to be a trend or not. I just think it's worth mentioning and being aware of. And this is not a political statement, but I had an agent that I coach in Tampa that wrote an offer on a new build uh, for his fiance, and they loved the house. It was great. Um, Kind of a semi-custom builder, pretty big in Tampa, and um, they were offering 50,000 off the price and a special interest rate, right? So they looked at it on a Saturday, and he got a call on Monday from the builder, and the builder said, "Listen, if you want the house and if you want the incentive, you need to write by Friday." And the agent was smart, and he said, "Tell me more. Why is that?" And he said, "We just got our lumber estimate out of Canada
Mm.
for the next phase and to finish this house. And because of the tariffs and the importing costs now, we got to take everything off the table if it's not signed by Friday. And no more incentives, no more special interest rate, no more slash to the price because our costs just went through the roof." And I literally got off that phone call and my head kind of spun for a minute. And I was like, you know what? I never even thought of the impact that that could have on the builders or on the real estate industry and how that may affect everything. Now, again, it's not a political statement. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but that builder felt because of the change in price of what they had to pay that they no longer could offer some of those incentives. And so if that is the case and that happens again, how do they compete? Now they're competing with all the resales.
I'll tell you what, I think it's going to trickle down, not only in our industry, I think it's going to trickle to every industry. My son's friend, who had a very high paying tech job with a company that manufactures a product out of LA, just lost his job. And he was doing really well. I don't know where they get their goods and their
All
product
their
from.
stuff from. Yeah.
Yeah, where their stuff from. But I think I in the real estate business, my guess, and I don't have a crystal ball, but I think it's going to affect. I think it's going to affect all new construction, and you've seen that. I think you've seen that, Tony and Nicole. After, like you said, Tony, we never caught up.
Right.
We never caught up. Yes, they a lot of big firms were able to sell off some of their land and go to other developers. And yes, they bought cheap money. And yes, they've been throwing not only cheap money at the public, but they've been throwing design incentives. They use
Yeah.
all of those incentives, which is great for the consumer, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do that, which in my case, which means the demand for resale is going to go up, which is only going to drive our resale prices up too. So,
Well, yeah, and here's the other challenge that we're seeing. Nicole, you're licensed in so many states, right? And you do a lot of business out of Texas.
a ton.
Um, One of the things that's really interesting also is at the in the same ecosystem that we have organic buyers buying new homes, right? People like me that their first home is a new home or whatever. Um, you now have a different level of competition with investors,
Mm.
meaning you've got companies. Um, well, it's public knowledge, so whatever. Like you have companies like Blackstone that are going into builders and saying, you're building 400 homes in this community, and we want to buy all of them. And we want to buy all of them to make them into rentals so that we can capitalize on the market, right? So you do have pockets where some of that stuff is happening and it's taking inventory away from the organic buyer. And it's a very interesting time with how new builds and how that product. And I love the fact that you said this, Lynn, how it's merchandised, right?
Hmm.
I love that concept that when you go on a listing appointment, you're like, listen, I need to know the inventory. And if you're going to be on my shelf and you're a condo, and we might be competing with another condo over here, or we might be competing with another house over here, like merchandising is important. So that kind of plays into the equation. And I think that's a really interesting thought about how that affects the tempo and everything about what's happening right now with new builds.
I also sense, and I don't have buyers right now. I have listings, which is fine. But Nicole, you need buyers to survive. I think buyers are just scared. I think they've I
100%. I hear it
as
every
much as
day.
we educate them that interest rates are not going to come down, and prices are only going to stay steady, or they're going to appreciate, even if it's just 3 to 5% a year. They're still right there. And so again, it's back to education. And markets and markets. And Tony, you've been around longer than I have, but you've seen all kinds of different changes in the market. There's business going to be had. Here's my theory, though, guys.
Yep.
People are going to get divorced. They're going to have babies. They're going to have kids go away to school. They're going to get transferred. They're going to want to move and make a lifestyle change. And they might as well do business. So people are going to buy and sell houses, and they might as well do it with us because we're in the market to stay in the market. We're educated. We're here to help them, and we're here to put all the puzzle pieces together and get them to the end goal. And I believe that the realtors, the lenders, the coaches, the people involved in our real estate business that are on top of it and are there to solve problems. And Tony, you've always said that coming from contribution, we're the ones that are going to survive. And wouldn't you rather do business with us than somebody else?
It's funny. I coach a team out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and they've got boots on the ground in Chattanooga, in Knoxville, in Nashville, and northern Georgia, and the Blue Mountains. And they do a call every morning at 5:30, my time, 7:30 their time. Imagine that, a real estate team that is on a call 7:30 in the morning every day, and they're talking about what they're grateful for, what their goals are, what they want to get accomplished that day. And it's interesting because he just asked this question the other day, and he said, as a realtor, what's your job? What are the three things that are your job? And I just kind of giggled. I was like, this will be fun, right? And they put out great stuff, but he summed it up like this, and I'm going to give him the credit. He was like, a real estate agent, a realtor, is really three things. Number one, they're an investigator. Number two, they're a problem solver. And number three, they are your closest trusted advisor, right? And Lynn, you're exactly right. When you look at the numbers of closed units, what's going on in the market, they really haven't changed. So someone's doing the business. It might as well be us, right? I
Exactly.
think the challenge is, I think the biggest challenge right now with real estate agents is that they got drunk at the party over the last 5 or 6 years, right? And now all of a sudden they got to go back to doing what they needed to do. And the fact of the matter is, no one's having conversations with buyers about money. Their financial advisors are not having that conversation with them. Gary Keller taught me very early that one of the things that you have to do is you have to be the economist of choice. You have to talk to people about money and what it means and how it works, and what buying a house would look like for them, and the advantages to that, and all of those things. And I think that a lot of realtors have gone away from that, and unfortunately, that they're experiencing that now. They're feeling that right now, right? So I think you're right. I think there's business out there to be done, and everybody wants that to happen, but we've got to go make it happen. So go ahead, Nicole.
Lena, I'm curious on what your take is as far as we talked about these tariffs and what could potentially happen to the cost of lumber, which we kind of saw during COVID, right? We saw that really spike. We saw prices go up a ton. What are the builders saying about this? Are they talking about it? Are they kind of letting everybody know what's happening? Or are they just kind of hoping and praying that it doesn't happen?
I think at this point they're hoping and praying, Nicole. I hate
Yeah.
to say it, not one builder last night that did a presentation talked about that, talked about, you know, but, they got caught with their pants down, Tony, in the Great Recession because they had all that existing inventory that was sitting on the shelf. So, they're very skittish. They're
Yeah.
skittish about, some of them are doing spec homes. Some are only doing, we'll start the foundation once we get a contract on that particular lot kind of thing. Just depends on the builder and their business model. But they are our partner and they need to be our friends. And we owe it to our consumer, our clients, to introduce them to the people that we find the best to work with, that build the best product, that are the easiest to do business with, and provide them, as well as
Yeah.
everything else that we're everything else that we have to be aware of.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
There's pressure everywhere, right? Like we just heard on the Tuesdays call that we do together that one of the builders here in town is experiencing. They've always had a lottery for lots, and they go quick, and they're really hard to get. And they had lots that didn't sell that they're now building specs on,
Mm-hmm.
right? So yeah, I think that this market. Here's the thing that I like about this market. Um, as hard as it maybe has been in the last year or so for lenders, realtors, every builders, everybody else, it's forcing us to go back and do something that we haven't been doing, and that's cooperating, right? Lynn, you can remember, and I can tell you the name of this agent. She's now retired, um, but you know, back in the day, how old do I sound now? Um, we hand delivered contracts and earnest money, and we cooperated with the agent that we worked with, right? And with the builder, we showed up to write the contract. We showed up to do the walkthrough. We showed up for all of those things. I can't tell you how many builders have made comments to me that, you guys just get paid because you bring a person in, register them, and then we don't see you again until closing. So this environment, I think, is a good thing in that it is forcing that level of cooperation to be at a much higher level to get us back to who we've traditionally been,
So
right?
Tony, that's a good segue for me to brag about the new home specialist program that we have through the Builder Realty Council. And you can earn 10 CE credits, and it takes you through step by step by step, like profiting with new home sales 101,
Mm,
construction, everything. And new home selling is a different bear than selling resales. It's a totally different. And one of the pieces of that specialist new home specialist program is then to teach, and we welcome affiliates as well as realtors and real estate agents, is to once you've got that, how to market. And the thing that we keep hearing from builders is that, again, they want us to manage the client, they'll manage the transaction. So from a perspective of a real estate agent, realtor going in, first off, I want to say, do not let, well, you can't control all of your buyers. You can't control them. But if you know that they have an interest in a community, please go out there with them. First time, meet the sales rep. Some of them you can register online. Some of them want you to come in person, and help facilitate the transaction. In that, be there, like you talked about, Tony, through the walkthrough. Take them to design center, go through their inspection,
yeah.
go through the process with them, and support that builder as we are partners with the other agent on the other side of our transaction, and a resale transaction. Be that partner to that builder sales rep and the project manager. They've got a lot of different people that they're dealing with, and get to know those people as well as you would in another types of transaction.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, right? I've always said this. for so long that your reputation in the market matters,
Mm-hmm.
especially when the market shifts, right? I can't tell you how many times I got calls during the hard market, and the agent was like, listen, I've got 36 that I could show. Three of them are yours. We're going to see those first. Because I know what I'm going to get. I know what it's like to work with you. I know it's priced right. I know it's going to show well. And I can just tell you here's the other opportunity. Builders may start needing us more. I got a phone call. I don't remember what year it was, but I had sold, or our team had sold two or three um, homes in this community. And it was a 55 and older community up north of Denver. And we got a call one day and said, listen, we had a rough quarter. We've got 35 homes done, ready for delivery, but we don't know how to market them. Guess who just picked up 35 listings?
Your
We did.
team. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Right. And the only reason I say that is because there was a partnership relationship with the builder. We brought them buyers in good times. All of a sudden, they were going through tough times and they needed help. And because of that relationship, they were like, kind of trust them. Why don't we have a conversation and see if we can work together? And Nicole, you and I had this conversation about somebody that we want on the podcast that is killing it with new home sales, listing all of their properties in the MLS to give them greater exposure.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a huge opportunity. Like right now, um, today is Friday. So on Tuesday, I'm listing 13 new listings, right? All vacant land with views of Lake Granby just next to Grand Lake. And who am I marketing to? Builders, right? Building those relationships, giving them an opportunity. So there's so much opportunity for the realtor, for the builder, and guess what? In the middle of that is the lender. The lender has opportunities to build relationships with them too, because yes, would they like to sell that home using their in-house mortgage company if they have one? Yeah, but is that always going to happen? No,
You
right?
know, there's something to be said about, again, we're talking about relationships and we're talking about how all of us within this industry all have to work together, right?
Right.
And there have been times where I have had buyers I've been working with for months and months and months who then come to me and say, "Hey, Nicole, we went and saw a new build." And immediately I'm like, "Awesome. How did it go?" Right? You're like, my face is my heart is now on the floor. I'm bummed. I'm like, I'm about to lose this deal. But being
Absolutely.
supportive of your partners and your buyers and your sellers is really important. And there are times where I have told them, that's awesome. New builds are great. However, let's be sure we compare apples to apples. Like, let's make sure you're getting the best deal possible, because
Mm,
if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
mm-hmm.
Right? And yes, they're buying, really cheap money and things like that, but with the potential for interest rates to drop, do you want to put all of that money that you're getting from them into your interest rate and it's just up in smoke like that? And then there's no opportunity for you to refinance. You're really kind of stuck at where you're at, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but then you're still coming out of pocket, right? And so having the relationships, whether it's with the builder or the agents, I think just goes a really long way. And especially with your buyers. Lynn, you said it earlier, education, education, education.
Mm-hmm.
And
wow.
everyone,
I'm going to interrupt you for a second because what you just said, I don't think a lot of people heard, right? So putting that money from the builder into your interest rate, if rates drop, you just lost it,
it's gone.
right?
It's up in smoke just like that.
There's no
Mm-hmm.
leverage there.
Mm-mm.
And that goes back to what I said about teaching people about money and having those financial conversations.
Mm-hmm.
It's about leverage.
And
And
that's exactly why I have the financial consultations that I have, to find out, do you want to keep money in your pocket, or is it the interest rate? Is it the monthly payment? Is it the cash out of pocket? What does that look like to you, right? And I think that there's a miss there because not a lot of people are having that conversation. I had a
right,
buyer come to me one time that was looking at new builds and was like, "Sorry, I'm out. I'm getting a 4% interest rate." And I was like, "Well, why is a 4% interest rate important to you?" "Well, because it's a 4% interest rate." So, what is that doing for you though? Right? And so, after a lot of questions and back and forth, it came out that, well, I don't want to come to the closing table with anything. And I'm like, then you
mm,
can't have a 4% interest rate, because that money needs to go towards your closing costs. It doesn't need to go towards your interest rate, right? And so I think it all goes back to the education and being open and transparent with your team.
yeah,
Well, the thing about I I'm not going to make a political statement here, but interest rate, people just think, they don't know, they don't understand, and the general public doesn't understand and doesn't know. They think high interest rate, that's going to cost me more money. They do not understand how the business works, and that's why they need somebody like you, Nicole, to have a financial conversation with them. As a realtor, I don't understand all the stuff that you do. That's why I would send them to you, because you can explain it to them. My job is maybe stuff you don't understand, and that's why we need to collaborate together. And
Absolutely.
and the last thing I'm going to say about the industry, I don't care if you're in title, if you're a realtor, if you're with Remax, if you're with Keller Williams, if you're with Century 21, if you're with whatever you are, we are all in this. If you're a lender, we're in this business together, and we need to collaborate together, and we need to support each other and find the good partners in our industry to to make us all shine and to make us all win.
Absolutely. I'm gonna plug something in here since we're on this topic. Financial conversations and consultations are the number one thing that buyers need to be having, and even sellers as well, when they're starting to look at buying and selling. I am always happy to do second looks on loan estimates from other lenders. No sales pitch, no trying to get you to move, just honesty, because there is something that lacks sometimes in this industry, and there are hidden things that you don't necessarily know, and you don't know what you don't know until you realize you don't know it. And so, anybody needs a financial consultation, I do a 30-point check and free second looks at loan estimates, just to make sure that everyone is getting the best deal possible for themselves. So I'm happy to
yeah,
help out that way.
That's an excellent service to provide, and I'm glad to know that that's what you do.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
yeah,
awesome. I've got to give a plug for. I invited you guys. Our next general meeting is a week from what? No, it's the 12th of March, which is next Wednesday. And our meetings are. We just moved. They're in the building that Heritage Title is in, 8500 East Tufts Avenue. We're on the second
yeah.
floor in our conference room. And then everybody listening, mark your calendars for May 1st. It's our builder breakfast. This is like our 20th annual. We'll have 36 builders. It's the PPA Event Center. It's free to real estate professionals. And there's free breakfast, there's networking, there's conversations with builders. So please, 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 I'd love to see you there and have you guys join us.
I would love to go
Awesome.
to something like that and just kind of hear what everybody's talking about, right?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. I so appreciate the invite, and I know Tony and I will probably definitely come to that and just kind of learn a little bit more. Tony, you have any other questions for Lynn while we've got her?
I don't. Lynn, you know how much I think about you. Um, my son shares a birthday with you.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Of course,
I
he's a few years younger than I am.
just a couple.
One or
But
two. It's fine.
I had the privilege of working with your son, watching you build a team. I just want to tell you how proud I am of you, of everything that you've done, the leader that you are, and just who you are as a person. And just want to thank you for spending some time with us today.
Thank you guys for inviting me. And I love learning from you and learning new things about you. And I look forward to doing business with you.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Well, Lynn, it's been a pleasure, and we've learned a ton from you as well. And I'm so glad that you joined us on Behind Closed Doors. And I'm sure we'll have you again and learn a little bit more about what's happening with you and in the industry.
Great. Thank you. You guys make it a great weekend.
Thanks, everybody. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.